Welcome, dear listeners, to the Speak and Flow podcast, where we dive into unique stories and strategies to help you and your team achieve maximum potential and flow, even when the stakes are high. Today, I have an amazing, experienced leader. She is known for high impact or fast response with practical strategies for organizations, leaders, and their teams. She is Natasha Kehimkar. She's the CEO of Malida Advisors. Hi, Natasha. Welcome.
It's a pleasure to be here, Melinda. Thank you so much for having me.
I am excited for our conversation, especially in our landscape today. So much is happening, so much change is happening, especially with your expertise in serving the high impact with rapid response. This is perfect. So I'm excited. So what are you passionate about in terms of looking forward in the future? What are you excited to see?
I am really interested in learning. Have had a lot of experience, so, almost 30 years now, in different sizes of companies, different parts of the world. And I just realize how much there is still for me to learn, and that gets the juices flowing for me.
Yeah, this is like it's a playground right now.
It is.
Playground of learning because so much change is happening, up hills and downhill. And so I think when there's so much stirring, there's a lot that can be done, and that's where learning happens, I think.
100%. I think the challenge people have is they may feel overwhelmed. And
Yeah.
actually, when you are directing what you're learning, when you are the one pursuing it, you have a clear path because you can take it anywhere you want to go.
That's true. So it depends, right? With all the change and upheaval, some people might see it as overwhelming, and I think majority of people. So actually, let's start with that conversation. So with all the upheaval and change, what kind of challenges are you seeing are getting stirred up in organizations today?
What's been so interesting to me is when there are constraints and pressures that are upon our leaders internally, we see people take one of two paths. The first path is one of really huddling and going inside. It tends to be, I'm going to protect my space, I'm going to protect my team. It also brings up a certain level of competition amongst leaders, especially. And of course, that sort of thing permeates the organization, right? And people feel like they need to protect their jobs, they need to protect their reputation. So that's one sort of path that we see leaders and then the cultures take. The other path, though, is the one that's most exciting and frankly, more enjoyable to be a part of. And that is the path where leaders, instead of going inside, open up, right?
Hmm.
They operate with their peers as a first team. They
Hmm.
are thinking about the greater good of the organization. They're not in the mode of protecting themselves or their teams. They're in the mode of doing what's best for the organization. In
Hmm.
those settings, it's a high opportunity for growth, a high opportunity for learning. It feels more enjoyable because you can be in flow and not have to watch your back. Things like psychological safety come up as like non-issues in those environments. And that is exciting. And it is 150% possible,
Right.
even when there, and maybe especially when there are constraints and there are pressures on our organizations and on our teams. We
Mhm.
choose how to respond.
Uh-huh.
And one can leave us feeling drained and tired, and the other can help us feel like we're getting charged up and that we have people with us, that we're together, we're in community with others.
Mhm. Yeah, and what do you think about those type of leaders? Going back to the one that is more closed, I see a lot of leadership. They tend to, because we're in so much change. If you're at the top or one of the CEOs, executives, I think that because there's so much change, they will go into demanding, commanding, and they then, if things don't go their way, will criticize because it's like we don't have time to mess around, and so then they criticize, they berate, and they I think in their minds they feel like that's going to move people along, or they just want it their way. And
So,
maybe because they are scared and because there is so much change. So we would, yeah, tell me about that. What do you think about
well, it's very likely their jobs are on the line too, right?
that?
So let's be
Yeah.
real. Look, I would say our team has a very good fortune of working with leaders who have wisdom and they have experience. And this isn't the first set of tough times they've encountered in the course of their careers. And
Yeah.
so what we see instead is more of an expansive perspective.
Right.
So much of this is mindset. Yes, there's skill, that we need to build in our leaders and in our organizations, and will matters so much as well. Like the
Mhm.
intention, the desire to um, be of service to a broader purpose and
Mhm.
not in service of yourself and the name you want to make. That only takes you so far.
Mhm.
But what I find is when leaders bring that intentionality of actually there's something bigger and I have a purpose in my life and my career, and they
Mhm.
bring that with them, those are the
Mhm.
leaders that people want to stick with, right?
Right.
And that also feeds that good monster, and the leaders feel validated when they do things like that. And
Mhm.
so it perpetuates a wonderful cycle of people being able to grow together, being able to go through tough times together. What an incredible bonding experience that is for a team to be able to
Mhm.
go through tough times together and to succeed, not
Mhm.
just survive, right? That builds resilience for the team as a
Yeah.
whole.
Yeah. Have you walked through clients where they were in particularly, especially if there's a lot of change in that area of being closed, competitive? Have you walked them through to the other side or seen that
Yes.
happen?
So
Okay.
interestingly, I was actually with a client earlier this week, and
Uh,
we were revisiting some of the early work that we had done.
Oh, cool.
And they were in an environment that was pretty tough,
Yeah.
quite, I would say demanding, high standards, questioning, why is this organization in place, this particular division? These things make people who are in that function feel a little bit,
Right.
scrutiny, stress. Am I wanted here? And it makes everything harder, right? Contentious is the kind of the word that kind of comes up. And the work we did together was actually to craft a purpose for that organization specifically, and unite it to the broader company's purpose. And
Oh,
so
interesting.
everyone on the team can see a through line from what they do day to day to what the company is doing for its customers, and its stakeholders. And that it was a starting point, right?
Mhm.
We also equipped them with some skills on how to pull that through, how to engage in those tough conversations, and aim for a shift in the dynamic that they were experiencing.
Mhm.
Because Melinda, you did a podcast episode on manifesting,
Uh-huh.
and I want to bring that forward because um, when we are in those tough moments, we do have a hand in that tough moment actually existing. I'm not saying it's our fault. Not getting into that. But we have, to some degree, we have created what's around us. And in organizations, we do that by what we will tolerate and what we will accept, and
Mhm.
what we will not accept and what we will not tolerate.
Mhm.
The leaders who are in those tough situations, rather than sit there and complain and
Mhm.
whine about it and commiserate with their team members or commiserate with peers, which creates more division in organizations, the leaders that I was working with had very much a united front amongst themselves, and they recognized that there is such a connection to the
Mhm.
overall company's purpose that as they were moving this forward, they were able to see a shift not only in the engagement scores for their organization, their own function,
Mhm.
but the connection that they had with other stakeholders who prior to this would have been a little bit, standoffish, would be the nicest way that they would experience it. But frankly, somewhat combative otherwise. The connection is much stronger. Even just a year later, there is a greater degree of collaboration, and
Mhm.
that feels good. If you have the power to manifest that as a leader, why wouldn't you do that? And who wouldn't want to be with you as you do that?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we, like you said, we have a hand in this, whether it's intentional or not. Like when situations happen around us and they're challenging and difficult, I think some people could blame the situation, blame other people, and then it starts to spiral into what we call an environment, or something that reality hits in, and they're actually starting to create it more and more because they see it more, so then they have a choice of what you said. When a situation happens, do we want to create more of that, or do we want to start to intentionally choose, there's another way to do this. There's another way to look at this. Because there's always different ways to look at a situation. There's multiple ways.
And I'll be, let's be completely upfront. There's a lot of complexity right now. There's a lot
Yeah,
of challenge. So I don't want to in any way minimize what
right.
leaders are experiencing.
Yeah,
I wouldn't want to do that. And
it's
I
tough.
certainly wouldn't want to shame people for really struggling with the environments they may find themselves in.
Yeah,
And um, okay, maybe you can't change the whole thing. What little piece can shift?
yeah,
What small, where is your locus of control? What can you shift? What can you think about? How can you reframe things? If you want to stay there, which, we're not seeing a whole lot of movement in some parts, in some organizations and other organizations, there's a lot of opportunity. Why is that? What are
yeah,
they seeing that we're not seeing? That's the question. Even asking yourself that one question, what is that group seeing that I'm not seeing, opens you up to possibility.
yeah. And asking that question, asking our brain to go there. Right.
Yes.
And I
Yes.
love that. Just what is that one little thing that I can do? Or what is one little thing that I can shift today that it is in my control?
Yes. And so now imagine, Melinda, an executive team operating with that mindset.
Mm-hmm.
What impact would that have on a whole organization? And
Mm-hmm.
this is something we're seeing with a number of executive teams because, interestingly, this year in particular, we're seeing a real uptick in executive teams investing in their own team alignment.
Mm-hmm.
It's very interesting because the world around us is quite uncertain. Lots of things changes, lots of, hurry up, this is going to happen, and then we are all on hold. And executive teams investing in their own development, their own cohesion, how they're going to operate, how they want to show up for the rest of the organization. The ripple effect of that is like putting a boulder in a pond, not a pebble. It's a boulder.
Right, right.
And the waves go in and out. They don't just spread out. The rest of the organization, they push that energy back to the leadership team,
Gosh.
and it just creates this dynamic where I want to be a part of this, and it's hard and it's difficult, but I'm with people that I believe in and who believe in me.
Yeah,
Those organizations are not holding back on learning and development for their teams either. Because
right.
sometimes in those constraint moments, we see people pulling back on training, for example, or coaching, and we're seeing them doubling down on it because the
Hmm.
way they're looking at it is this is an investment for the long term.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
I
that's
want to
what
be
I
around
do.
in the long term. I want
Right,
our organization to be here for the long
right.
term.
I mean, we should.
So
I mean, this is brilliant because I think that I do that myself. I invest in so much training for myself because I want to move faster. I'm like, what can I learn from other people that will help me see things differently to help me move faster? So, and I think that what you're going back to what you're saying, executives, cohesion with executive teams that have a ripple effect. Any team, like a leader, even if you're not an executive, but you're a leader of a team, you have such an impact on other people, and that creates a ripple effect. And so, how do you continue to move in spite the chaos and complexity, move faster because now's the time? And so
and
I
so
think investment is a great thing and having some support, right?
and so much of what we're talking about is tied to a lot of what you do as well, right? That requirement, and I will say it's a requirement of self-reflection as part of our growth as leaders,
Yeah.
right? To know who you are, to know your voice,
Hmm.
right? That's very much what you do, right? You help people find their voice.
Yes.
And this is an opportunity we have for our leaders now, especially this is when it matters, right? This is exactly the time it matters.
Hmm.
When you are able to know yourself and you are reflecting on who you've been, how you've grown, where have been those moments where you sort of did a leap, not a step forward.
Yeah.
Um, you can repeat that. You can share those experiences with your team. And because they're yours, they're your story, when you tell them to people, they grow with you. They learn from your mistakes. It's the cheapest way to make a mistake is learn from somebody else's, right?
Hmm.
I'm going to make
Hmm.
some learn from somebody else's mistakes so I don't have to do it myself. It's low cost, low investment. Um, when leaders share those failure moments or they share their reflections on their own growth, their own gaps with their teams, it's a very powerful moment of connection. And it's a very powerful moment of them investing in their people.
Right. I love that. And what is, I'm so curious because you've been doing this for, like you said, 30 years. What is one of your most memorable, like, story that you just love? A story that you could share about your experience or how you got started that you just love.
So I have an example that's it's a learning moment in my career. Um, you know, I was with an organization where we had the unfortunate experience of having to do 3 layoffs in the course of 18 months.
Mm.
And I'm very steady. This is why, like my nickname, right? Rapid response expert. I'm very steady when things get into crisis mode and chaos. I'm very I can be very single-minded. We're gonna move forward and we're gonna be fine. We're gonna win. I'm confident and I'm very, very certain that we're on the right path.
Mm.
And I don't do that without talking to people, obviously. But once the leadership team sets a path, and in this case, once our exec team had set the path, I was certain we were going to be successful. I don't bring doubt in. We're going to
Mm.
do it. That's it.
Mhm.
And one of my peers said to me, "Why aren't you more stressed out? Why aren't you more nervous? You
Mhm.
should be really freaked out right now. We have to do the third layoff in 18 months." And I looked at him and I said, if I was nervous, you all should be running for the hills.
Mm.
You should be really scared if I'm nervous. And
Mm.
for years, Melinda, I thought that that was a great response because I was signaling like, I got this.
I got
I'm
this.
steady. You can lean on me. I'm steady and it's okay. And it was also, it's like a sassy response, right? It's got a little bit of snap in it.
Yes.
And I had a realization just like 2, 3 years ago that it was an arrogant response
Mm.
and it lacked humility and it was insensitive because what this person was telling me was, I'm freaking out.
Yeah.
I don't think this is going to work. I'm worried. And
Wow.
instead of acknowledging and validating what they were feeling, I was like, buck up, Buttercup. We got this.
Yeah.
And it's fine. And we'll go forward and we're going to be fine. And I will carry you all on my back.
Oh,
I'm sorry. Did I need to be a hero in that moment? Maybe not that exact moment, right? Like that, maybe that was it was not the kindest thing that I could have done. And that was a big learning for me to reflect on that experience and realize that, and they didn't hate me for it. Like it wasn't a contentious moment or one of struggle, but realizing that I had an opportunity to make that person feel heard and
mm.
to acknowledge that those feelings that they were having, that they were asking me to have, were absolutely normal.
Yeah.
And I missed that chance.
Well, thank you. The person helped you to realize that.
I think so.
So, yes.
So
Yeah.
sometimes the lessons need to go on a shelf for a little while. And
Yes.
when they're done percolating, that's when we get the value out of them. So this is one of the reasons why I say like reflection is such an important component of our leadership.
Right.
But yeah, that happened probably about 8 years ago now. It wasn't yesterday.
What a great story. I love that because I could see your fire and I could see your willingness to just have everybody hold you and get you carry people on your back. What a great image and visual, but it's also at the same time for you, you're so focused, right? And that you just have them, you got them. And I think that was probably your intention. You just you know that you're gonna win. But then at the same time, sometimes yeah, giving that space for other people that are just not feeling similarly.
That's right.
So that's the
That's right.
learning, and that's right. And I think as we continue to go through change, we can always learn about that. Like not everybody's going to feel and think the same way and behave the same way. And so
Hmm.
how do we, and which does sometimes take a little bit longer, how do we bring other people along? And I think sometimes people do get impatient too when people are not coming along as fast as we'd like them to be. So I think
And
you
I
have
think
to find.
I think too, Melinda, like it's an opportunity to also let people feel whatever they're feeling and not try to fix it, right? Like it was it a bit parental of me to say, "Don't worry, we got this," or coach in the athletic coach sense, approach to say, "Go, go, go, keep going." Or, can I allow an adult to be an adult and have a feeling and have an emotion, have an experience? So there's a lot of learning that came out of that one.
I love that. Thank you for sharing that. And so before we close, can you share with the audience what is that one leadership golden takeaway that you like them to remember?
Stay curious. I know, people say that all the time, and for me, it's about just for a second, withhold judgment. So whatever the, ooh, I like that, or no, I don't like that, just hold off and try to spend some time to understand. Ask really good questions, ask genuine questions, and then allow that, assessment or evaluative element of your brain come in. But
Mm,
curiosity is such a blessing, it's such a gift.
mm.
And we discover so much about the people around us, ourselves, the way things connect or don't connect when we stay curious.
I love that. I love how you brought in the judgment or the assumptions that we can come up so quickly with, but allowing to stay curious. Actually, for some reason, I connected to that a little deeper today because staying curious allows us to connect inward, maybe give it a little bit more time and space on how we are reacting or how our body or what are we thinking really before the brain, because the brain is so fast, the brain is going to like make decisions very quickly, and
Yes.
oftentimes
Yes.
we don't allow our whole body alignment to be immersed in the experience of it by being curious and then seeing how other people are also reacting, like I mean, because we're just constantly on the go, so it's hard, it's challenging, so thank you for that. Yeah, to
Pleasure.
remind us of being curious in lots of ways to immerse ourselves in the situation.
It's so important to me. It's actually one of our company values.
Awesome.
Mhm.
I love that. It's great. It's beautiful. Oh, thank you, Natasha. Thank you so much for the time and the conversation today. I think we can go on for so long on this. It's exciting. It's really fun. I am excited for where companies and organizations are especially with the ones that you and I love to work with, the ones that are investing, the ones that are bringing people along, that are on a bigger mission, that's bigger than themselves, and those that are just here to make a difference in the world. I think that those are the people that you and I like to work with, and it's exciting to see where it's going.
100%.
Yeah,
100%.
yeah. Well, thank you so much, and thank you, audience, for being here. I trust that you got your golden takeaway, and so implement it right away. Do some difference, make a change. And if you are speaking to someone, remember you're not just using your words, you're also connecting and having a chance to make an influence in their lives. So until next time, thank you so much. I'm your sister in flow. Take care. Bye bye. Thanks for joining the conversation today. Are you curious on how you measure up with your ability to speak in flow? Come grab my free self-assessment at https://speakinflow.com/assessment. And I'll see you on the other side.